feel so high. No. What are we talking about today? Jobs.
Jobs.
So it was in Quartzsite, which most everybody knows.
Mm-hmm.
We went for, but mainly just for the warm weather.
Yep.
Thought about going to RTR. We didn't go. That's a whole different story. We're not here to talk about that. But anyway, we're going to talk about jobs.
Yes.
Since we was in there so long, we decided to pick up a small job to supplement our travel money. So we decided to think outside the box, and we're beside a walking trail, so I'm watching people go by. But anyway, instead of getting like a permanent job or seasonal job, so to speak,
Just the traditional jobs that sometimes you think of with RVers.
Yeah, so we checked out the state minimum wage, realized it was really high. It's $11.
Mm-hmm.
So that told us we can pretty much take any job and make fairly decent money. So from the thumbnail, you probably will notice we went to work at fast food at Carl Jr.'s, which ended up paying $12.
$12.
Yeah, it's pretty good money. That's just a few dollars short of the sugar beet.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we worked there 2 weeks,
Yep.
which we planned on being very short. Arizona is a right to work state, or work will
At will state.
At will state,
Yeah.
which means you don't have to give a notice. You can say, hey, I'm quitting today, which is not good to do, but you can legally do that, quote unquote, not hurt your record or whatever. But anyway, we stayed there for 2 weeks. Our plan was to make a certain amount of money, and we did, and we decided we were going to go on. But anyway, the whole point of this video is to, like, thinking outside the box when it comes to jobs. Because most people, when they say work camping, they automatically say camp host, or the one that everybody knows, sugar beet or Amazon. There's thousands of jobs out there to get, and it's so easy to get. Like the town we was in, Quartzsite, even Parker, almost every window had help on it.
Literally every restaurant, or I mean, it's not a huge city. So first of all, we were already limited on what kind of jobs were going to be available. So we actually did look outside of the city, to the Phoenix area, but ultimately it worked out great because when you're out west, there's so much BLM land. So having accommodations provided isn't really necessary.
Well, Phoenix turned out not to be so much RV friendly. Because we had some friends that did a job in Phoenix. They do have RV parks, but they was full, I think they said.
Yep.
Because we actually had a job lined up in Phoenix, and the parking, staying in the area, just really, it wouldn't have been no fun. It would have been, and speaking for myself, it would have been like stressful, just a parking situation, what we would have had done to make the job work. But anyway, we looked around the Quartzsite. We thought about a casino.
Yep.
Didn't really pan out as far as they didn't really contact us, and we ran across the Carl Jr.'s job, the fast food joint, which actually worked out great.
We walked in and got hired.
Stayed on the BLM land.
Yeah.
Roughly 4 miles of work, 5 miles and back, so really low expense on the travel, and made good money.
Yeah, and we got scheduled together, so it saved even time, like the travel time and the work time. We had the exact same shifts, so it worked out really fun.
So if you're gonna be, God forbid, if you broke down in town or something like that, or you're just gonna be in the area for a long time for personal reasons, whatever. And in my mind, in order to keep from getting bored, because you only do so much in town as far as sitting around. Just think outside the box. Look at fast food restaurants. I mean, washing dishes is super easy. And not to sound bad, but when you leave, you're not really burning the bridge, so to speak. When are you ever gonna go back to that same restaurant and try to get a job? Or maybe give them a notice. I don't mean just walk out and leave, but
because we gave notice for our job, and I think too, although they may not advertise always as like a seasonal, there are definite rushes with certain areas. So where we were at, right towards the tail end of when we were there, the rush had died. So they were overstaffed, really, essentially. So, and I think too, it's all about experiences as well. You can bring so much good energy into any job that you go to. So if it's something different, it's something new, that's something, Carl Jr.'s was not something that we had either really had experience with, but
planned on working with.
but it ended up being surprisingly, not surprisingly, but it was really fun. But I think for me, was surprising was how much I enjoyed it, and how clean and efficient the process was with that company.
They had a really structural, I don't want to say schedule, but they had a certain criteria how you do things there, and it was very structured. I mean, I don't. We just went right in, went to work, and I didn't feel stressed on learning everything.
Yeah.
And they did kind of just throw us into it.
Yeah, you got thrown in.
But and just to continue what she's saying, in my mind, I always thought, like everybody, fast food. Everybody can flip a burger, but it wasn't that. I was shocked. It was very structured, very clean.
Yep.
Always
incredibly clean and fresh.
There's always disinfecting counters and wiping stuff down, and you got to wash your hands after you wash your hands. And all this. I was really surprised. It's not what I thought it was.
Yep.
So I have a new respect for the fast food industry.
Absolutely.
Now I think that's really going to depend on who the manager is, how much they care about the job. Because I have been in some fast food joints that are just disgusting. So I think that's really going to be based on how much the manager enjoys their job or does their job. But the one we was at, I was really surprised. It gave me a whole different outlook on fast food.
Yeah. And I still do think it's the energy you bring in, because you can still bring in a positive atmosphere, a positive energy into a bad area or a bad work environment, and things can still change, even though it was a short period of time. Every shift we worked, we had fun.
6-hour shifts, and it went by. It seemed like it flew by. It didn't feel like a job.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna admit, I'm really grumpy in the mornings. I don't want to go. But once I got there, it was like, I'm loosely used the word enjoyable, and it went by quick. It wasn't bad. Because I'm a heavy equipment operator, truck driver. The typical guy jobs. I never in my life thought I'd ever work in a fast food joint, and it was okay. I'd do it again. I would, in the right setting, depending on where what city I'm in or whatever.
Yeah.
But if you're going to do something like this, be sure to check your state minimum wage, because that determines what kind of job. If it's $7, you can't make a lot of money. Like we work 6 hours a day.
Yeah.
You're not going to make a lot of money at $7. But Arizona's $11 an hour minimum wage, so that's pretty good money.
And even still at $7 or $8 an hour, which is kind of where I'm from in Illinois, if it's just something to kind of help pass time, cushion your savings so that way you can go to another trip, it's still something worth considering, because it's not a really stressful, some of these jobs can, we had rushes of people that would require you to work faster, but the job itself was relatively stress-free. And so it's just something to consider. There's so many things that you walk by, job opportunities that you might just walk by and not even consider it. But
yesterday we saw that cafe had help pointed in the room. Yep. Well, the main thing of this video is to think outside the box. If you're a full-time traveler, people seem to think work camping is limited to camp hosts at an RV park or the typical jobs you hear about in Amazon. There's jobs everywhere. You just gotta get out of that little closed box you feel like is the rules of what you gotta do. I've washed dishes in restaurants before. A couple years ago, well, the last time I came to Arizona, a couple years ago, just for spending money, so to speak. I had my travel money already set, but just for I can spend it, don't worry about it, blow up money. I was making like $300 a week washing dishes in a restaurant. Easy job. You don't even have to think, and it was quick way to make money. And that's pretty much what we're trying to convey here, as far as whatever your situation may be, where you just unfortunately broke down, need money, or just stuck in the area for a while for whatever reason. Look around, look like your shopping malls. It wouldn't be for me so much, but say a shoe store or something of that nature. If that's the stuff you like, check your state's minimum wage and get an idea of what you'd be making and decide if it's worth it. Arizona definitely worth it. $11. I would pump gas or anything. $11.
Yeah, I feel like the West Coast is. Yeah. I mean, it really is. Kind of exciting to me, because the minimum wage is generally so much higher, and the opportunity for parking and leaving your rig is so high. We got an LTVA pass, so we had the long-term visitors pass where we knew our home was safely parked, and then we could just drive into work a couple of miles away. I know that's not in every city or every state, but you mix that. The opportunity to safely park your home with the proximity to the jobs. It
makes it easy.
It made it really easy for us.
That's not going to be everywhere. I would think inner city would be harder. But it depends on what kind of rig you're using. If you're a van dweller or living in a van, I feel like you could do it anywhere.
You could.
Now, like we pull a travel trailer, it kind of limits to the areas we can do this at. But even still, I mean, I feel like in this town, just what I've seen so far in this town, I'm not gonna say it'd be easy, but I feel like it'd be possible.
It would
There's
definitely.
enough areas to bounce around to.
And there's a big enough industrial area where you could get away.
I've noticed
And-
most you folks might know this. I'm from Kentucky. It's new to me. People just park in the street, just randomly in the middle of the streets. I mean, I'm not used to that. It may be common around here. I'm not used to it, but nothing else. You just park in the street.
On the curb, he's.
No, them two cars was in the street. We was at a Walmart with a actual, I wouldn't say highway, but like a side
There's
street
a
or whatever.
dead end.
There's no shoulder or nothing. They're in the travel lanes. They're parking in the street. And then on the main highway, that white car.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, they're not in the
Yeah.
travel lane, but there's not like a gravel shoulder or nothing. They're just parking in the street. I'm just
Yeah.
not used to that. I don't know. It's probably common.
Yeah, I've done it. I did retail in Northern California a couple of years ago, and so yeah, I just in the van. It's so easy. I mean, I think if you're in a van, it's prime. But even with a camper, if you've got a camper or something that you're leaving, I think Arizona is just really.
Yeah.
It's a great state to
I
work.
was going to mention, I keep forgetting, but it's probably him to mention it. Some of y'all have sent me some mail. I got a couple pieces of mail that someone sent me. It's going to be a loud truck going by. I haven't got home to see it. We're going to be home here next month or so. I'll get it and I'll recognize who you are. But don't be upset that we haven't said anything because we haven't been home to get it. It's been sitting in my mailbox. I know it's there. We're like moving, so I don't want to send it out here and we have to sit and wait for it and all that. Just give me about a month or so. We'll be home and I'll see who you are. Because I even say that every
That's a
time.
good
I always
point.
forget.
Yep. He's really excited for it.
Yeah, fan mail. Woo. It's probably, I hope you die.
No,
I don't care. It's still fan mail. That's really about it. All I wanted to say is just to praise Carl's Jr. a little bit. They're very clean and their food is fresh.
The food was.
Yeah.
I mean,
The chicken tender. I'll just use that for example. That's what I did. I was the fry man, but I made chicken tenders. It ain't out of the freezer, open the bag. It's like raw chicken that I had the bread, throw it in the deep fryer, and they sold it so fast. It's pretty much fresh as you can get. Just the simple reason they sold it so fast, I was constantly making it. And all their sandwiches like fresh ingredients.
yeah. I mean, you can get everything as a lettuce wrap. They have zucchini, like fried zucchini pop, and then jalapeno poppers.
It was good.
And the prices were really. I mean,
reasonable.
I started off in the back with the fry guy, but ended up as a cashier, and it was just the prices were pretty reasonable considering how fresh the ingredients were. Like everything is prepared the day before or the night before.
Now the burgers came in on a open a box type deal, but most of their lettuce and spinach they got that ready early every single day fresh.
Yeah. But the small patties and the small and the large patties are frozen.
It's
But
real hamburgers,
if you get
too.
the thick burgers, it truly is like, it's like.
Yeah, it's real burgers.
Yeah, it's real 100%.
Except for that
beef.
Beyond Burger, that vegetarian.
The Beyond.
That was
They have
soy
a Beyond
bun.
Burger,
Yeah.
which is soy. I'm gonna personally state that if you are a vegetarian or vegan, I would never assume that your food is not getting some kind of
Yeah.
cross-contamination because at our location there was no way for them to cook it separately. So I don't know if there's any vegans or vegetarians, but if you ever, they loved it. The vegetarians and vegans that came through, I saw a lot of repeat customers. They really do enjoy the food, but to say that it's 100% not
Well,
cross-contaminated,
their
I don't see how it's
machine,
possible.
They got like a conveyor belt, I'm gonna call it. That's pretty much what it is. It's really flame broiled. They advertise that it really is. But when they put the real meat burgers on this thing, it slowly goes to this oven or whatever you want to call it. Well, she's talking about that vegan burger goes on that same conveyor belt. So it's got to be cross contamination there.
Yeah.
But it ain't like you're eating actual meat.
No, yeah, it is this plant 100% plant based.
But it is going
But
in
the
the same
ingredients
cooker,
though are still the lettuce wraps, like the
They take-
tomatoes, the onions, everything is like
They even made the
freshly
cheese.
cut.
Cheese is fresh every day.
Yep.
They go out there and slice it. They slice it by hand. I don't know
Yep.
how they do that, but that Judy girl, that's what I see her
Yeah.
doing this
Yep.
for hours, cutting
Yep.
cheese. I'm really surprised. It's not what I thought it'd be.
Yeah, and it's clean every day. It was like they're like cleaning down the walls, the vents.
Yeah. Everything,
the
counters.
the charbroil machine itself.
And they use actual disinfectant agents. It ain't
Yep.
like a wet rag. They actually
No,
got
yeah.
certain stuff used on certain things.
Yep, definitely. I've got a respect for fast food industry,
Right.
and just especially Carl Jr.'s. I back home we have Hardee's. I didn't know there was a difference, but Carl Jr.'s is kind of like a Southern California West Coast thing. Who bought out Hardee's, if I remember properly. But Carl Jr.'s, if we happen to go buy one, I might.
I think they beat McDonald's. I feel like McDonald's is all processed crap. But the
I
only
would
thing
have to say
processed
so.
at Carl Jr.'s that I noticed was the little kids' little chicken tenders.
The chicken stars.
They look like what
Yeah.
you would buy in a store, like fish sticks
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah.
But the rest is real deal, real food.
Yep.
It wasn't glued together, plant life, or whatever you want to call
Yeah. The chicken tenders are like it really is. It's chicken thigh. They just it's cut up. I
it.
made them
Even,
too.
even the spicy chickens were the real deal.
Yep.
The fish sandwiches were real fish.
Yep.
Everything was real.
Yep.
I mean,
Which the fish isn't on the menu, but the
Yeah.
2 for $5 fish is real.
Yep. So that's really about it as far as that goes.
Yeah.
The main subject matter is think outside the box.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you're just doing it to pass time or you really need money. It's not to say you have to be fast food. Think outside the box. Like go to a shopping center. First choose what you got to be happy with what you're doing. So first choose what you feel like you can deal with or want to do, whether it be shoe store or doing tax returns or whatever. And I would research your area's pay, like minimum wage, maybe what your city taxes. Like I don't feel like they took out enough taxes on us.
That's one thing I probably
Yeah.
am concerned is
Yeah, I don't
I
think
had
they
them
took
take
enough
out
out.
extra just because.
Which is
It's just-
fine. We can cover it at the end of the year. But anyway, do a little bit of research and you don't have to do Amazon and all that. There's thousands of jobs out here, and it seems like every time we go in needs help. Because I don't know if it's because people don't want to do these jobs or they're just overqualified or what. But like Parker, Quartzsite, because we was actually looking for work around there, every single window had help on it, help on it, help on it. Mainly fast food. I saw that one gas station. We was in a town, was it Palm Beach? Was in Palm Beach the other day?
Palm Bay or
Palm Bay.
Palmdale.
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 But anyway, that cafe had help on it.
Yep.
The Goodwill store had help on it.
Yep.
There's jobs everywhere, and I didn't realize this till we did the fast food thing. So now I'm starting to look. There's jobs everywhere. If you just think outside the box, just because you're a full-time traveler, don't mean you got to do the typical what everybody says you have to do.
Yep.
Not me personally, just my own morals. I wouldn't do it like a mom and pop family-owned restaurant or store because they're struggling as it is. But these big corporations, McDonald's and all that, they put in their budget for turnover and all that. I don't feel like you're going to hurt them if you work 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then leave. And if you go to, like I said, a family organization, they're struggling as it is. They're trying to compete with them big guys. I wouldn't work there for a week or two and then leave. Just leave them. I feel like it would hurt them. That's up to you to choose what you want to do. Me personally, I wouldn't. But these big corporations, as a formal business owner, that's in their budget. They're expecting to spend so much on training, turnover, and all that. They've already got that figured out. So I don't think you're hurting them by working a couple of weeks and then leaving.
Well, and I don't particularly like, looking to quit a job either. And we didn't have a set time that we were going to leave. We could have stayed really as long as we wanted to. But there are other jobs. Even I did one for a state fair that came through town, and it's a 14-day period. They needed help, and that was it. It was a company that was already established in the area, but they needed extra hands. And so for 14 days, I had a great job, and then afterwards, there was just no expectation for me to stay. If I wanted to, they said I could have, but
Where's the one you did bathrooms and stuff?
that was the Iowa.
Oh, was that it?
Yeah, that was the Iowa
'Cause I
State
forgot
Fair.
about that. Yeah.
Yeah, yep. So you've got state fairs that come through, like when we were in Quartzsite, you've got like the big tent and the RTR and all of these things that bring all of these people to these, smaller communities, and they immediately need help, but not necessarily long term. So, but yeah, fairs, carnivals. There's just so many different things that.
Which everybody already knows this. I do golf courses. Super easy jobs to get. If you can mow grass, you can work on a golf course. But there's certain levels you got to be certified, like greenskeeper. Anybody can do it. It's just a silly thing to got. But that's another easy job to get. If you can mow grass or if you can trim a bush, you can get a job on a golf course. And they usually pay pretty good. But yeah, all y'all know I do that every summer. I love golf course jobs. But yeah, just on your travels, whatever reason why you're needing to work, whatever it may be, think outside the box. Just look around, see what's available around you.
Yep.
Maybe if the pay's not so good, look next state over something. If you're able to cross the state line, see what their state minimum wage is or something.
Find an area you like, and then if you need to make some money, then check it out.
The reason we got that job is we was planning on staying there because of the weather. It's warm and everything. And I think for me, the reason we didn't stay longer is because we was both starting to get a little bored. We did it. We was ready to move on. But if you was just going to snowbird, that'd been perfect. You made actually very good money, and still have plenty of time off to do whatever you want to do, sit around or hike the mountains in the desert like we did. Because 6 hours a day is nothing.
No.
They gave us half the day to do laundry or whatever we need to do. It's not like you're working a 70-hour-a-week job or something. But I've pretty much said what I want to say, unless there's anything you want to add.
No. Yeah, that's it. It's just find an area you really want to be in, and if you need to make money, or if you happen to break down somewhere and you're stuck in an area, then just keep your options open. Stay humble. You can always grow and learn from any job that you're in, and that's. I'm not too proud to do anything. It's allowing us to continue our journey. We're having a great time in California now, and we're basically doing it all just off of the money that we made.
Well, that couple we met at Sugar Beet, or I call our friends, they did like an auto auction, didn't they?
Yeah,
I just thought about it,
auto
just popped in
auction.
my
I forgot
head.
about that. Yep.
Was they doing parking or actually moving the cars?
I think they were actually like taking the money from the bids.
Yeah, that's right. I remember
Yep.
they told us. I got a terrible memory.
Yeah, so that's another one. Yeah, the auto auction. I guess I don't know if it travels through, but they said it was only like a week long, and
they found it through a temp service that everybody uses. It's called Express. If you've done a Sugar Beet, you use Express.
Yeah.
But I think that's where they learned about that job from. And that's another. I mean, we could go on forever. Everybody knows me. I use temp services. That's another thing. Going to temp service. They got several what I call day jobs. They might need you one day, or they might need you a week, or they've always got jobs like that.
Yeah.
Just make a quick $200-300 or whatever it is. But yeah, I could ramble on all day, but I'm gonna end mine right here because I just like telling people what to do. Do it my way. No.
just have fun doing whatever it is you find yourself doing. Just have fun doing it, and you'll have fun.
All right, you done?
Done.
All right. You all know the
Good
drill.
luck.
Hello to everybody. I can't remember everybody's names, but hello to everyone, and thanks for watching. I appreciate it, and yeah, we'll see you next time, I guess.
See you guys.
All right, bye.
Bye.